محمد وعلى محمد صلوات اللهم صل على Muhammad. So we'll start off with Brother Amirli with Tilawat of the Quran. Muhammad وعلى Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنما وليكم الله ورسوله. إنما وليكم الله ورسوله والذين آمنوا الذين يقيمون الصلاة ويؤتون الزكاة وهم راكعون. ومن يتول الله ورسوله والذين آمنوا فإن حزب الله هم الغالبون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتخذوا الذين اتخذوا دينكم هزوا ولعبا من الذين أوتوا الكتاب من قبلكم والكفار أولياء واتقوا الله إن كنتم مؤمنين. واتقوا الله إن كنتم مؤمنين. وإذا ناديتم إلى الصلاة اتخذوها هزوا ولعبا ذلك بأنهم قوم لا يعقلون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات.
Thank you, Brother Amir Ali, for that beautiful recitation of the Holy Quran. Can we have a loud salawat for Brother Amir Ali? Allah. Next up, we have Brother Ihsan Shigri with a salam in English. By Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat.
سجاد shattered tyrants. The truth you revealed, Sajjad. Your patience shattered tyrants. The truth you revealed, the chains you wore in silence, O Zayn al-Abidin, the heaviest of grief the world has ever seen. From Karbala's sand to Kufa's hostile street, with bleeding wounded steps and dust upon your feet, Sajjad. Your patience shattered tyrants. The truth you revealed. You bore the weight of Imam, while all around you burned, as tents were set on fire, and veils were rudely turned. The master of prostration, the crown of worship's grace, yet forced into the streets through Sham's crowded markets. Sajjad, your patience shattered tyrants. The truth you revealed. Through crowded bazaar standing, an innocent in chains, a witness to the cruelty, the slaughter and the pains. The world forgets the grief, but history weeps to see the golden son of Hussein in captivity. Sajjad, your patience shattered tyrants. The truth you revealed. No sword was in your hand, yet the sermon shook thrones. You made the halls of La'in echo with truth alone. You spoke of pure Muhammad, of Ali and Zahra's name, and turned their fleeting triumph into a lasting shame. Sajjad, your patience shattered tyrants. The truth you revealed. Peace be upon you, the captive of the night, who kept the land of Karbala burning ever so bright. The tears you wept for decades still wash the hearts of men. Salutations of the patience Abidin. Peace be upon you, O captive of the night, who kept the lamp of Karbala burning so ever bright. The tears you wept for decades still wash the hearts of men. Salutations of patience Al-Abidin. Sajjad, your patience shattered tyrant. The truth you revealed, Sajjad, your patience shattered tyrants. The truth you revealed. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Before we begin the Majlis, we'll just have some announcements. There's a donation table set up in the back. We also have a Zelle QR code. Please participate in contributing to the Majlis Azah. Please clean up after yourself. Please reduce the amount of drinks, snacks, and whatnot. We have to keep the center clean. If we don't, no one else will. These Majlis will continue until Sunday, July 12th. Please continue to join us at the same time. And on the men's side, can we just move more into this side so if anyone else comes, we will have more room, inshallah. And again, let's do a Fatiha for all the sponsors, all the Muharrameen of the sponsors. The names are Mirza Zawar Ali, Sayyida Asghari Begum, Shabah Nur Khan, Inayat Hussain Khan, and all the other Muharrameen of your Muharrameen, or everyone else who doesn't have any, all the Muhammadin who don't have any family, and all the Shahada and all their family. Let's start do that with a loud salawat. Without further ado, I'd like to call up Sayyid Ali Kazwini to start the third Majlis of Ayyam Sajjadiya. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Allah.
أفلح من صلى على محمد وآل محمد. On behalf of the love and respect of our beloved fourth Imam, Imam Zainul Abidin, the adornment of believers, let us recite in the loudest of our voices, صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله. صلى الله عليك وعلى أهل بيتك المظلومين. صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله، يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة، يا غريب يا مظلوم يا شهيد كربلاء يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. قال الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام ميم. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Respected brothers and sisters, illuminate your hearts and minds with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Dear brothers and sisters, let's take just a moment. Some of us have had a long day at work. We're excited, anticipating the weekend. Some of us have been at school. Let's just take a moment to decompress. All right. Leave the FIFA game for just a second. If you have your phone in your hands, put it down for just a moment. If you're drinking your coffee, just put it down for a second. Let's do a thought experiment. So I want everyone to close their eyes, just be for a few moments. I want you to close your eyes and picture and visualize the Amazon rainforest. So perhaps many of you have not been to the Amazon rainforest, but you can visualize greenery, all types of flora, all types of fauna. You can imagine how humid, how rainy, how wet it is, teeming with life, just soil that gives endless and endless life, powerful raging flowing rivers. You feel the essence of life there. All right, now you can open your eyes. Inshallah, no one has slept. Now we'll do one other thought experiment. Close your eyes one last time. And now I want you to visualize the Sahara Desert. You're walking through a vast expanse of sand. You can barely see a shrub for miles and miles. The sand beneath you is scorching. Not one drop of water to be seen in sight. All right, now you can open your eyes again. Recently, scientists that study climate science, that study biology, they have discovered, and this might be shocking to hear, that the incredible biodiversity of the Amazon rainforest, it's the most dense area on the planet in terms of animal species and plant species, flora and fauna. This oasis of life depends on the Sahara Desert with its dearth of resources and water in order for it to continue existing. Now you might ask, how so? What does the Amazon rainforest have to do with the Sahara Desert? Well, they've discovered that millions and millions of years ago, you have those phytoplankton. If you've seen SpongeBob, you know, the bad guy, plankton. There's millions and millions and trillions, rather, of phytoplankton that used to occupy the oceans. In fact, if you go to space, you can see vast swaths of green on the ocean. And these are conglomerations of trillions of phytoplankton. In fact, every third breath you take is oxygen produced by these phytoplankton. They produce oxygen through photosynthesis, just like trees do. Now these, when they die, they fall down to the ocean floor. And over millions of years, the beds of Africa erupted and came up from the ocean floor, and now is the Sahara Desert. Now this phytoplankton is mixed in with the sands of the Sahara Desert. And these phytoplankton carry numerous macronutrients. Silicon, other types of stuff. They've discovered there are winds that come and carry these sands and the resources and nutrients within them through jet streams thousands of miles away, and they fall and deposit in the Amazon rainforest. If these jet streams cease, you cannot have the incredible biodiversity you have in the Amazon rainforest. Allah's system is such that the rainforest, with its incredible life teeming with life, actually subsists off the arid Sahara Desert. Now there are connections across earth, across this universe that we cannot see, yet Allah has designed everything in utmost perfection. According to one hadith attributed to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi bi'ala al-aswat. He speaks of the Holy Quran. He says, ظاهره أنيق وباطنه عميق. The surface of the Holy Quran is eloquent. And the Quran has incredible depth. You find the everlasting legacy of the Holy Quran and the everlasting miracle of the Holy Quran is, O mushrikeen, you doubt the Holy Prophet, you doubt the prophetic mission, you doubt revelation, bring one book like the Holy Quran. Rather, bring one chapter in the Holy Quran. I mean, there are many atheist Arab poets. There are many Christian Arab poets. And now, mashallah, we have ChatGPT, we have Gemini, we have Claude, we have all the resources at our fingertips, and yet no one can produce one sentence that matches the eloquence of the Holy Quran. There's one narration that says Abu Sufyan and Abu Jahl, these staunch enemies of Allah Azza wa Jalla and His Prophet, and a third unnamed person. These were the stewards of the kuffar. They would go during the Prophet's time in Mecca. They would go and harass him. They would go and spread insults. They would go to people and tell him, don't go to Muhammad. Don't listen to him. He's a magician. He'll fool you. They would accuse him of witchcraft. It's said that they, being the stewards against revelation and the Prophet ﷺ, they could not be seen in public listening to the Holy Quran because that would give him a sort of legitimacy. But they would sometimes walk by the marketplace where the Prophet would be reciting the Holy Quran and they'd be mesmerized. What is this? How could this man who seemingly had no formal education come up with these beautiful words? So these three individuals, Abu Sufyan, Abu Jahl, and some third person, they all agreed, we can't go in public in the daytime and listen to the Holy Prophet. We'll go at night. We'll stand by the windowsill of the Holy Prophet and listen to the Holy Quran. That way no one can see us. Now you might ask, why would they go at night? I mean, people are usually sleeping. Well, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi would spend his nights in tahajjud and worship and recitation of the Holy Quran. So these individuals, they meet up at night and they're listening to the Holy Quran. They're listening and they're mesmerized. Nothing has graced their ears like the words of the Holy Quran. You just open the Holy Quran, my dear brothers and sisters. Many of us, we leave it on the bookshelf to collect dust. But just open the Holy Quran. Listen to the Holy Quran if you can't read. It just brings a type of itma'anina, a type of tranquility to your heart that nothing else does. So they're listening, they're mesmerized, and before they know it, the sun is out. They've spent the entire night listening to the Holy Prophet recite Quran. They understood then and there that this is powerful. So they looked at one another, they said, wow, this guy's magic is so powerful, we've been mesmerized. So they made a vow to never listen to the Holy Quran again. The day passes, night falls. Abu Sufyan, he's restless, he can't sleep. He's like, you know what? I have to go and listen again. And I won't tell the others. It'll just be between me. So he goes at night. He finds himself at the house of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Who does he find? Abu Jahl and the other guy, they were there. They also wanted to do the same thing. They were so curious, but, they just couldn't help themselves. If you've seen that Spider-Man meme, they're all pointing at each other. I would imagine that's them. So they listen again all the way until morning comes. And then they vow again by their gods that they will never ever again visit. The day passes, the night falls. Abu Sufyan, again he's twitching. He can't help himself. He says, well, they all vowed that they won't come, so it's safe. So he goes, and again, he finds Abu Jahl and that third person there. Now, that's where the narration ends. We don't know. 4th, 5th day, 6th day. Did they also go? But even these staunch enemies of Allah, staunch enemies of the Prophet, staunch enemies of Wahy and the Quran and Revelation, they couldn't be helped but to be mesmerized by the words of the Holy Quran. And you find, my dear brothers and sisters, the Quran has incredible depth. ظاهره أنيق, its surface is eloquent, وباطنه عميق, and it has incredible depth. There's a student who moved to the holy city of Najaf, the city of Maulana Amir al-Mu'mineen, alayhi afdal as-salati was-salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala. He says, after I attended all my classes, I had heard that there is a Quranic tafsir class taught by a grand scholar, a very qualified scholar with intense amount of research and specialization of the Holy Quran. He says, the next day in the morning, I went and I attended. He was doing the tafsir of one verse. He says the class started, and we finished the class, and he still did not conclude the tafsir of one verse, expounding on its various linguistic elements, expounding on the various scientific elements of the Holy Quran, expounding on how the Quran understood the Arabian society at the time, the various dimensions of the Holy Quran, its eloquence, its poetry. He says, I was astounded. So the whole session, not even one verse. And how many verses are in the Holy Quran? How many chapters in the Holy Quran? He says, I went the next day, and the entirety of the next day was devoted to that same verse. 2 days, they're still on the same verse. The Quran keeps on giving and giving. He says, I went the third day, we're still on that same verse. He says, I went for 40 days, and we're still on that same verse. Once a man came to Imam al-Sadiq, salamullahi alayhi. Allahumma salli ala. He told him, Sayyidi wa mulai, ruhi laka al-fida. Can you give me the exegesis, the tafsir of this verse? He gives him a verse. The Imam responds. He gives him the tafsir of this verse. Now a couple days later, this man, he comes again. And he says, Oh Sayyidi wa mulai, can you give me the tafsir of this verse? He gives him the same verse he asked him last time. Now did he perhaps forget? Was he trying to test the Imam? We don't know. The Imam said something else entirely. He said, Sayyidi wa Mawlai, I came a couple days ago, I asked you regarding the tafsir of this same verse, you said something else. And now, you give me a different tafsir. He looks at him and he says, Wayhak. He says, the Quran is like the waves of the ocean. You can come to me today, you can come to me tomorrow, you can come to me every single day for the rest of my life, and I will give you a different tafsir of this verse. The Quran is the ocean that keeps on giving and giving and giving and giving. It's no surprise, my dear brothers and sisters, the Quran is the connection between the profane, us here on this earth, and the divine. Allah Azza wa Jal could have sent us multi-volume works. Allama's Majlis' work, 114 volumes, Bihar al-Anwar. Allah could have given us 200 volumes, 1,000 volumes. Allah gave us one book. Do we take care and consideration to open this book? This is the divine instruction manual, my dear brothers and sisters. You want to succeed in basketball? You have to listen to your coach. The best teams are the teams with the best coaches and the best players. You want to succeed in soccer? Same thing. Football, cricket. You want the manual on how to succeed in life, how to live a happy life, how to live with itma'nina, you look to the Holy Quran. Ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. Verily, it is with the remembrance of Allah that hearts become tranquil. You find the Quran has aspects of it that even encompass modern scientific marvels. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states in the Holy Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Allahu alladhi rafa'a as-samawati bighayri amadin tarawnaha. Allah has lifted the skies with columns that you cannot see. Now perhaps at the time, these Arabs, they would come and ask the Prophet, what does this mean? Columns that we can't see. What is keeping all this universe together? Now, this is clearly a reference to gravity. Columns, pillars that we cannot see, keeping the universe in check. There's another beautiful verse, my dear brothers and sisters. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states in this verse, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, فمن يرد الله أن يهديه يشرح صدره للإسلام ومن يرد أن يضله يجعل صدره ضيقا حرجا كأنما يصعد في السماء. So let's do another small experiment, dear brothers and sisters. Let's recite these verses that I just mentioned. This is one verse with two parts. So recite after me. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. فمن يرد الله أن يهديه يشرح صدره للإسلام. Easy, right? Allah is saying here, whoever Allah wants to guide will open her or his chest to Islam. يشرح صدره للإسلام. Will open that person's chest, meaning their heart, to Islam. If Allah wants to guide that person. What's part two? Allah says if Allah does not want someone to be guided, what happens? Now let's read. Part two. ومن يرد الله أن يضله يجعل صدره ضيقا حرجا كأنما يصعد في السماء. Who can read that? ما شاء الله ما شاء الله صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Here, Allah is speaking about what happens if Allah does not want you to be guided. Even linguistically, vocally, phonetically, the words are difficult to pronounce. When Allah wants to guide you, the words are easy to pronounce. But when Allah does not want you to be guided, even the verses are hard to pronounce. They have all those throat letters, the ayn, the dad, right? All those difficult letters. Look at these linguistic aspects of the Holy Quran. And then let's actually look at the verse. What is the Quran saying? ومن يرد أن يضله يجعل صدره ضيقا حرجا كأنما يصعد في السماء. Allah will make that person's heart tight as if they are ascending to the skies. Now, if anyone here is a hiker or a climber, you'll have heard of something called elevation sickness. When you start climbing too high, too fast, you have to go up, then you have to go down, de-elevate, and then go up. Because if you go up too much, you'll start to experience tightness of the chest and shortness of breath. The Quran is saying if Allah doesn't want you to be guided, it's as if you'll be uplifted to the skies and your heart will be tight and your chest will be tight. Look at the various elements of these verses, my dear brothers and sisters. The Quran is the book that keeps on giving. The Quran is not there to place in your car dash, to place on your library collecting dust. Open the Holy Quran. If you don't have time to be a hafiz, open one page a day, open one verse a day. This is the connection between you and Rabbul Alameen. What are our obligations and duties toward the Holy Quran? Number one, my dear brothers and sisters, to the extent that we can, try to memorize the Holy Quran. Remember, these words are not words of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yes, he was Al-Amin, Aminul Wahy. He was the one that relayed the Wahy, the revelation, with 100% accuracy. But these are the actual words of Allah Azza wa Jal. Are there no better words to memorize than the words of your Lord, the one that created you, that has fed you and sustained you from the moment of your inception? It's said that once a grand scholar in Karbala, he was traveling from Karbala to Najaf to do the ziyarah of Amir al-Mu'mineen, salamullahi alayhi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala. When the taxi ride that he was in encounters some sort of engine problem. So the driver, he comes out, he says, Sayyidina, you know, there's a problem. It might take a little while. I have to go check out the car. And then we'll be back on our way to Najaf, inshallah. So he takes the car, and they're in the Palm Springs, the areas of Karbala. They haven't arrived to Najaf yet. It takes around 2 or 3 hours. And the person, he fixes the car and he's back. He tells him, Sayyidina, please enter the car. We can go on our way to Najaf. On the way, he asked him, what were you doing all this time? I didn't see you bringing any books or anything. This is not a scholarly trip. This is a ziyarah trip. So were you just, he was curious. What did you do? He says, in this short amount of time that you had gone, I recited from memory 1/3 of the Holy Quran. The scholar had the Quran memorized. He didn't have Instagram to go doom scrolling, WhatsApp to spread fake news, all those AI videos. he spent his time reciting the Holy Quran. Imagine what a blessed stop that was between Karbala and Najaf to recite a third of the Holy Quran, the blessed words of Allah Azza wa Jal. There is a call on the Day of Judgment, my dear brothers and sisters, a call from the skies that says, Iqra ayah irqa darajah. There's over 6,000 verses in the Holy Quran. The call says, recite one verse and elevate one level. Every verse you have from memory, that you've committed to memory, that you recite. Now, of course, there's no paper on the Day of Judgment. It's all here. Every verse that you recite is one level that you can go up. One greater dimension of heaven and paradise that you can enjoy for eternity. Now, why pass up on an eternity of joy and pleasure and paradise because I didn't want to memorize a few short verses of the Holy Quran? One book. I remember around 7 or 8 years ago, I visited a grand scholar in the city of Qum by the shrine of Sayyidah Ma'sooma salamullahi alayha. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala. His advice to me was memorize the Quran, but you don't have to do it in 1 month or even 1 year. His advice was memorize one verse a day. And that includes Alif Lam Mim. That's a cheat day basically. But then you'll have those days, that one ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah, that's a whole page. Yawmun laka wa yawmun alayk. Some days are with you, some days are against you. But if you just memorize one verse a day, one line a day, he had told me that you can memorize half the Quran in 7 years if you just memorize one verse a day. That's extremely minimal effort, barely takes any time, doesn't ruin any of your plans, and within a short amount of years, you'll have half the Quran memorized. What kind of blessings is this? To be able to carry the Quran wherever you go, recite the Quran in its various chapters in your prayers. This is blessing, my dear brothers and sisters. So we must try to make the effort to recite the Holy Quran and memorize the Holy Quran, commit it to memory. Now, the second and more important obligation that we have towards the Holy Book of God is to understand. Comprehension, my dear brothers and sisters, is more important than memory. Yes, it's blissful to be able to recite and memorize the Holy Quran. But there are people who have committed the Quran to memory, but it does not serve them at all. Look at some of these, if you remember 2014, 15, 16, look at some of those ISIS individuals. MashaAllah, most beautiful tajweed, best recitation of the Holy Quran. But if your recitation of the Holy Quran leads you to killing innocent people, it has not benefited you 1 ounce. Not in the slightest. You've just become a parrot. You've downloaded all that data, all those gigs in your brain, but it doesn't benefit you at all. Comprehension is very important, my dear brothers and sisters. We have to actually read the Holy Quran, understand it. What is the proper meaning, the tafsir and the ta'weel of the Holy Quran? For us as adherents of the path of Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdal as-salati was-salam, Allahumma salli ala. We have to look at the tafsir and the ta'weel, the exegesis of Ahlul Bayt salamullahi alayhim. There is tafsir al-Rida, for example. Go take a look at it. Imam Rida salamullahi alayhi doing tafsir and explaining various verses in the Holy Quran. Each of the Imams has had tafsir of the Holy Quran. Comprehension. Many of the laws of Allah, all the major beliefs in Islam are rooted in the Holy Quran. If you have any major belief in your aqeedah and your creed, you have to justify it through the Holy Quran. If your beliefs do not stem from the Holy Quran, they don't have any value. If they conflict with the Holy Quran, you throw them away. Once during the battle of Jamal, a companion came to Amir al-Mu'mineen salamullahi alayhi. He says, Sayyidi wa Mawlai, I'm confused. I'm just confused. On one hand, I see the Khalifa of Allah, the son-in-law, and the cousin of Rasulullah. And then on the other, I see the wife of Rasulullah. So who do I choose? Seems impossible. Now, Amir al-Mu'mineen salamullahi alayhi, he could have given him many responses. He could have told him, yes, I am the brother-in-law, the son-in-law, and the cousin of Rasulullah, but I am also the self of Rasulullah. Testified by the Holy Quran itself. وَأَنفُسَنَا وَأَنفُسَكُمْ. During the incident of Mubahala, those Christians from Najran, they came and they challenged Rasulullah. So Rasulullah said, bring your wives, bring your children, and bring yourselves, and we will bring our wives, our women, our children, and ourselves. Who does Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam bring? He brings Lady Fatima, peace be upon her, Bibi Fatima. He brings Al-Hasanan, alayhim afdal salatu wassalam, and he brings Amir al-Mu'mineen. Now, Lady Fatima, peace be upon her, she's the woman of Rasulullah. Al-Hasanan are the children of Rasulullah. What category does Amir al-Mu'mineen fall into? He is the self of Rasulullah. He is the one that Rasulullah imparted 1,000 gates of knowledge, to which 1,000 gates leads to 1,000 doors. أنا مدينة العلم وعلي بابها. If Rasulullah is the city of knowledge, then Amir al-Mu'mineen is the gate. Amir al-Mu'mineen could have responded that during the most sensitive times of Rasulullah, when he had to escape from Mecca and go to Medina, he trusted none other than me to sleep in his bed. Amir al-Mu'mineen could have responded with 1,000 responses. What did he tell him? He told him, look at the Quran. Look at the Quran will lead you to just. You want the truth, you follow the Quran. The Quran is the scale. If you're confused, you don't know what to do, you read the Holy Quran. You find we're in a state of confusion these days, my dear brothers and sisters. We've been talking about the incidents going on overseas, in Gaza, in Lebanon, in Iran, in Somalia. Honestly, for cases like these, I would say it's not even necessary to open the Holy Quran. You just have to look at your heart and your fitrah and see whether slaughtering children, waging unjust wars, acting with complete and total impunity, is that good and just, or is that peak devilry? Anytime you're conflicted, just go to the Holy Quran, and the Quran will be the guide of haqq and batil. And lastly, my dear brothers and sisters, our obligation towards the Holy Quran. Yes, it's important to memorize. It's important to recite. It's important to understand. But none of this is useful if you do not apply. Application of the lessons of the Holy Quran in our lives, starting with me, this is the most important takeaway tonight. The Quran has numerous injunctions. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states in the Holy Quran that Allah has instructed us to implement justice and ihsan. Justice is giving each person their due rights. Don't transgress. Some people, they don't do justice to their parents. Your parents have numerous rights upon us. My dear brothers and sisters, read Risalat al-Huquq by Imam Zain al-Abidin, salamullahi alayhi, where he describes the rights of mu'mineen amongst one another, the rights of your parents, the rights of your spouses. My dear brothers and sisters, if you as a spouse do not cater to the rights of your spouse, on the day of judgment there will be reckoning. There are rights of your neighbors. Now these days, everything has been so anonymous, you might not even know who your neighbors are, but your neighbors have rights over you. You have to go and check up on them. If you sleep with your belly full, but your neighbors sleep empty-handed and hungry, then there will be reckoning on the day of judgment. Every person has to make sure their duties and their obligations and their rights are being fulfilled and received. Wal-ihsan. Ihsan is a step above justice. Justice is giving everyone their proper rights, what they deserve. Ihsan is going above and beyond. You might have had a spat with one of your cousins. He didn't invite you for his walima. So you say, an eye for an eye, my walima is due, I'm not going to invite him. Sure, an eye for an eye, but ihsan says, you know what? I'll be the better person. Because on the day of judgment, I'm not going to be regretful. You know what? I always said that extra $20 inviting that guy. You're going to be regretful. Look at those mountains of ajr and hasanat that I missed out on. And I couldn't bring myself to attain that because of my ego. You know what? He said something about me, so I'm not going to invite him. She said this, so I'm going to blast her on social media. Something happens, and then later that night, story goes up. You can never trust your friends. It's always your day ones. Ihsan, my dear brothers and sisters, do we try to apply ihsan in our lives? Or is it always an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth? Once our president, Donald Trump, was asked, what's your favorite verse from the Bible, from the New Testament? And so he responded, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. By the way, Mr. President, that's in the Old Testament, but sure. Wrong book, but on the right track. Ihsan is a step above. The rights we have to our community, the rights we have to our centers, the rights that the Ahlul Bayt salamullahi alayhi have upon us. And of course, most importantly, the rights of Allah Azza wa Jal. Are we making sure our prayers are spotless? Our prayers hinge on our wudu, my dear brothers and sisters. Make sure you do your wudu properly. Are you doing your wudu properly? Many people don't know that wudu, the direction of water, is unidirectional. What does that mean? Water only goes up, down. So if you do this and then you go up again, your wudu is invalid. If your wudu is invalid, then that means your prayers are invalid. You have to repeat those prayers. Making sure all the rights of Allah Azza wa Jal are implemented. And then on a societal level as well. If we implement the teachings of the Holy Quran on a societal level, by Allah, my dear brothers and sisters, our lives will change. There's a beautiful story attributed to Imam Zain al-Abidin salamullahi alayhi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. It said that whenever he wanted to travel to any area, whether that was to Hajj, whether that was to Karbala, anywhere, he would find a group of mu'mineen who were banding together and travel with them. Now back then, there was no United, no Delta, no Spirit, rahmatullahi alayh. So what you would have to do is you'd have to find a couple of people, trustworthy people, and travel with them. Because sometimes there's dangerous animals. By the way, lions, if you look at maps of historical areas where lions would inhabit, go back to the 6th and 7th and 8th centuries, lions inhabited Arabia. So sometimes you'd be traveling and a lion would actually come at you. So you'd need a band of travelers to travel with to stay safe. There were highway thieves. You've heard of highway robbery. You'd be traveling and then a group of bandits would come and rob you and perhaps do worse, sometimes kill you. So the way you stay safe is you travel with people. Imam Zain al-Abidin would find a group of mu'mineen that don't recognize him because they were mu'mineen. They accepted Imam Zain al-Abidin as their leader, but because back then there was no social media, no internet, no photos, you would know of your Imam, but you wouldn't know how he looks like. So he would join them, and they don't know that this is Imam Zain al-Abidin. And he would stipulate, I want to join you guys on the condition that I serve you. I want to be your servant during this trip. This is who? Imam Zain al-Abidin salamullahi alayhi. So the entirety of the trip, he's serving them. He's bringing them water. He's bringing them their chai, their tea. He's at their service. Until, in one incident, they arrive at Hajj. When they enter the city of Mecca, the followers and the muhibbeen, the muwaleen, the followers of Ahlul Bayt, they come to arrive, the Hujjaj, and they see Imam Zain al-Abidin, and they're astounded. They welcome him. Now those travelers, they ask, who is this? Why is everyone welcoming this guy? They say, how do you not know Imam Zain al-Abidin? They start crying. They go to him and they fall on the feet of Imam Zain al-Abidin, kissing his feet. They said, Sayyidi wa Mawlai, why have you done this to us? Why did you conceal your identity? If only you had told us who you were so that we could serve you this whole time. We feel so embarrassed and ashamed. And then Imam Zain al-Abidin would respond, he'd say, don't say that. If only you would know the amount of divine rewards Allah has placed for me for the service. The service of others, my dear brothers and sisters, has immense rewards. And we look at the other social obligations mentioned within the Holy Quran. If we apply them on a social, on a national, on a global level, all injustice will be eliminated. Look at the governance of Amir al-Mu'mineen salamullahi alayhi. Once the two companions, Talha and Zubayr, they came to visit Amir al-Mu'mineen while he was in his khilafah at night. So they come and they say, we have business with you, O Ali. He says, personal or government business? They say, personal. He says, okay, wait a second. He turns off, he blows the candle that he had on his desk. He goes to his storage, he brings another candle, he lights that one. So Talha and Zubayr, they were there to ask him to increase their stipend from Baytul Mal, the Muslim treasury. They felt, being that they were Sahaba, companions of Rasulullah, they deserved more than what everyone else gets. That was their personal business. They asked him, oh, Mu'min, why did you blow out one candle and light another? He said, that candle was from the Muslim treasury. If you had government business, I would have used that. But you said personal. This is my personal candle. purchased with my funds. Look at the transparency and the cleanliness of Amir al-Mu'mineen salamullahi alayhi. So these guys, they saw, before they even said a word, they knew their case was done. So they just said, you know what, actually we don't have anything to do. Ma'a salama. Khuda hafiz. And they went back home. You can't mess with a man like that. If we are to apply Islamic principles on a societal, on a national level, all land is free. The government should not own and sell any land. Al-ardu lillah wa liman ammaraha. According to the prophetic tradition, land belongs to Allah. Whoever builds and develops land owns it. You don't have to buy your land from anyone. Imagine if that was the case here. You could just go find any plot of land not owned by anyone else. As long as you cultivate it, you build it, you farm it, it's yours. All resources in an area belong to the people, not to the government. There should be no trade restrictions. In Islam, we have a difference in terms of our philosophy of taxation. Here, you have taxation on consumption. Anything you buy, there's taxes. Right? What's it here in New York State? What's your sales tax? 8%? All right. Oh, wow. 9%. So in Michigan, it's more around 6%. Whereas in Islam, you find the zakat and the khums works differently. It's not on consumption. It's on excess profits. Here you have cases where people have to go into debt to pay their taxes. There's no such thing in Islam. If at the end of the year you have no surplus income, you owe no khums. You owe no religious dues. If we apply some of these principles, my dear brothers and sisters, then our lives will begin to change. It's said that once, during the reign of one of the caliphs, the Muslim army, they headed towards Persia. And they were trying to open the lands of Persia. They saw the opposing army on the other side of the river. They tried to go, but these Arabs who live in the desert, they've never swam, they don't know how to cross a river. So these opposing soldiers began laughing. The report says they held each other's hands, they said Allahu Akbar, and they started walking in the river. And then they went and ultimately opened these lands. If you have the power of belief in Allah Azza wa Jal and you apply the principles of the Holy Quran, your life will change, my dear brothers and sisters. But what happens if we begin to renounce the principles of the Holy Quran? If we begin to stray further from the divine will, Amir al-Mu'mineen has a hadith about this. He states, الناس يعرضون عن القرآن يعرض الله عنهم. Once people begin straying from the Holy Quran, Allah will renounce you. Allahu Akbar wal-'iyadhu billah. Now, if Allah has renounced you, you're done for. Thus, we ought to try and always establish these Quranic principles. And one of the biggest duties that we have and obligations, my dear brothers and sisters, is attending the majalis of Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdal salati wassalam. Some people claim that it's a bid'ah that we cry upon Abi Abdullah al-Hussein and his tragedy, and the tragedy of Ali Rasulullah. But I would answer, is it a bid'ah if Rasulullah was the first to do it? Open books attributed to all Muslim sources. Salama narrates, Rasulullah came home. He says, I need to rest. I'm going to go to my private room. Don't let anyone disturb me. She says, sure. Moments later, the young Imam al-Hussein walks in the house. He says, I want to see my grandfather. Where is he? Salama, where is he? She says, no. He needs some rest. He starts crying and complaining. She can't handle seeing Imam al-Hussein cry. So she lets him go inside. A few moments pass by. She hears the cries of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. Allahumma salli ala. So she comes rushing to the door. She opens it. She thought maybe the young Imam al-Hussein is bothering Rasulullah. Why is he crying? She sees his blessed beard is drenched in his tears. She asks him, Ruhi lak al-fida, O Rasulullah, may my life be ransom for you. What has happened? He said, just now, moments ago, the trustee of Allah, Jibreel, descended upon me and he said, do you love your grandson Hussein? And I responded, by Allah, I love him. This is the beloved of Rasulullah. He said, do you like to see what your own ummah has done to him? what your own people will be doing to him? He says, he took me, he teleported me to a land, and he told me this is a land called Nainawa, Karbala. And he told me this is where a asaba, where a gang from your own ummah will murder your grandson. And I began to cry. Therefore, the first to do the ma'tam, to cry upon Imam al-Hussein salamullahi alayhi, was in fact Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Once a companion of Imam al-Rida alayhi afdalus salati was salam, a companion walked in, he saw Imam al-Rida. He looks under the weather, he looks depressed, he's sad. He told him, Sayyidi wa Mulai, what's bothering you? We'll do anything to help you. He tells him, do you not know what today is? He says, no. He says, today is the 1st of Muharram. Today is the month in which my grandfather was killed while he was thirsty. Imam Zain al-Abidin salamullahi alayhi. For years, we mentioned, for years and years and years, he would weep upon the tragedy of his father, Imam al-Hussein salamullahi alayhi. You know what's very tragic with Imam Zain al-Abidin salamullahi alayhi is that whenever there's a new king, there's a new coronation, the old king dies, a new king is anointed, there's usually a royal decree. Prisoners are freed, all debts are overturned. You know what was the first royal decree of Imam Zain al-Abidin after he became the Imam? The first decree of the Imam was when these a'da, when these enemies of Allah, the enemies of Rasulullah and the family of Rasulullah, they started chasing the young women and the young girls, and they started burning the tents. Lady Zainab, she comes, she asks him, oh Zain al-Abidin, what do we do? They're burning the tents. أحرقوا بيوت الظالمين. Burn down the tents of these ظالمين. Umar ibn Sa'ad says, so she tells him, oh Imam, oh Sayyidi wa Mawlai, what's your first rule? What's your first royal decree? And he looks at her and he says, Amma Zainab, firna min al-khiyam. Run away from the camps and the tents. And they start running from one tent to the other. Lady Zainab, she comes to Imam Zain al-Abidin. She tells him, after Imam al-Hussein salamullahi alayhi was massacred, he was martyred. She says, I hear from the area of Imam al-Hussein the sound of glass breaking. What is that? It sounds like glass is breaking. He looks at her and he says, Amma Zainab. Aunt Zainab, that's not glass. That's the bones of my father being trampled by the horses. These cursed enemies. Umar ibn Sa'ad, he looks at his soldiers and he says, change the hooves on your horses to the sharpest of hooves. And they go and they step on the blessed chest of Imam al-Hussein Abu Abdullah. After they demolish the chest of Abu Abdullah, he tells the soldiers, Umar ibn Sa'ad, this cursed enemy of Allah, turn him on his back. They turn the Imam on his back and they begin pouncing on the back of Abu Abdullah. They left no bone in his body safe. After the enemies had trampled upon the bodies, turned those bones into ashes, into dust, they began beheading the dead bodies on the sands of Karbala one by one. And they placed them on the spears for everyone to see. Was that enough, O mu'mineen, O mu'minat? After that, the looting began. One person, he came and he stole the shirt and the garment of Imam al-Hussein. One person stole the turban of Imam al-Hussein. There was one man, he had his eye on the ring of Imam al-Hussein. He went, he kneeled down by the body of Imam al-Hussein. He tried to extract the ring from his finger, he couldn't, it was too tight. This cursed enemy of Allah, he took out a dagger from his belt and he cut off the finger of Imam al-Hussein. And then he said, I heard a cry from the heavens, Waladi Hussein. He said, I heard the voice of a woman crying out, my son Hussein, leave him alone. After that, these enemies, they began burning the tents. Every time these daughters of Rasulullah would go from one tent to the other, they'd go and burn that tent. And then the looting continued. There was one enemy, he saw a daughter, Sukaina, the young daughter of Imam al-Hussein, and he went, he pushed her with the bottom of his spear down. She fell unconscious. As she woke up, she saw a strange man approaching on top of her. He lifted her veil and he stripped her earrings from her ears. After that, Hamid ibn Muslim, the historian, he goes to Umar ibn Sa'ad. He says, Wayhak, do you want to kill these women and children, or do you want to take them alive to Kufa and then later to Sham? He says, no, we want to take them alive. He says, in that case, offer them water. They're about to die from thirst. So they go, they bring cups of water. But every time they would offer to one girl, she would say no. They would offer to another, she would say no. They would ask, why don't you drink? They would say, how can I drink when my father died thirsty? Until finally they saw one girl, she had accepted that cup of water. So everyone was curious, what would she do with that water? She must be so thirsty, poor thing. She takes that water and she steers away from the tent, away from the camp of Abu Abdullah. And she goes wandering beneath those bodies until she finds herself at a headless body. She takes that cup and she says, Father, I've brought you some water, have a drink. Lady Zainab, that night was the first night in her life when she had to pray sitting. Her back was bent. Her job was enormous. She had to make sure everyone was accounted for. Every lady, every child. She had to make sure Imam Zain al-Abidin was safe. She would go from one tent to the other, taking a head count, making sure everyone is accounted for. There would be one child that's absent, they'd go search and find her. There'd be one person, one child missing, they'd go and find him. Until she noticed there's one person missing. No matter where she went, she couldn't find this person. Late at night, she noticed there was one lady missing. There's a poet. He encapsulates the incidents very beautifully. The poet says, Zainab settled into the night, only to hear a faint lullaby. Who is this? Who is the mother crying out for her young son? Zainab settled into the night, only to hear a faint lullaby. Even with her back now bent, she went looking behind the tent. Who was the young infant buried behind the tent? What was that small grave behind the tent? And who was the lady searching for that small grave? The poet, he continues, he says, it's a mother, it is Rabab. A lioness seeking her cub. Zainab, I've been near and far, but I cannot find my asghar. You know, if you've had anyone in the community and they've had a young child, an infant that passes away, usually those parents in those first moments, they're in shock. They'll tell you, my baby little angel is still with me. They still can't process it. That's why Rabab here, she says, Zainab, I've been near and far, but I cannot find my asghar. And then she continues to Harmala, I want to say, what did we do to see this day? My boy is gone, he won't return. With it my heart will always burn. My boy is gone, he won't return. With it my heart will always burn. I shake his crib, but he is gone. Asghar is gone, Asghar is gone. Asghar is gone, Asghar is gone. Everyone all together. Asghar is gone, Asghar is gone. Asghar is gone, Asghar is gone. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون فسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. O Allah, we beseech you by these sacred nights, the Sajjadiya nights, we raise our hands in dua and we recite the blessed verse 5 times. For those in need of healing, for mercy upon our departed ones, our marhumeen. Let us all recite these blessed verse together 5 times. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. أَمَّن يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَاهُ وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءَ أَمَّن يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَاهُ وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءَ أَمَّن يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَاهُ وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءَ يا الله اللهم إنا نسألك وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعز الأجل الأكرم يا الله 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 يا Allah. Oh Allah, forgive us of our sins. Oh Allah, grant us the tawfiq of living the life of Ali Muhammad and dying upon the path of Al Muhammad. Oh Allah, grant us the tawfiq of this continuing attendance of the majalis of Muhammad and Al Muhammad. Oh Allah, grant us the tawfiq of being servants of Allah and Muhammad and Al Muhammad. Oh Allah, we ask you to send your peace and serenity across Muslims wherever they may be around the globe. Oh Allah Azza wa Jal, we ask you to send your mercy upon the shuhada of Islam, the ulama of Islam, upon our loved ones. Send your healing upon our loved ones that need shifa. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by your mercy, guide us into a more educated, more aware Muslim nation, Muslim ummah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us of our sins, to grant us our hajat, to grant us barakah and blessings in our lives, and for the sake of our marhumeen, for those who have attended these majalis, who have volunteered in these majalis, who have sponsored and contributed towards these majalis, let us all recite Surah Al-Mubarakat Al-Fatiha. Before that, Allah salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. مأتم يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين
Oh Baba Ali, from Kufa to Sham, please come to help your Zainab. Oh Baba Ali, from Kufa to Sham, please come to help your Zainab. Oh Baba Ali, from Kufa to Sham, please come to help your Zainab. Oh Baba Ali, from Kufa to Sham, please come to help your Zainab. Oh Baba Ali, from Kufa to Sham, please come to help your Zainab. Oh Baba Ali, do you know what we went through from the bazaars of Kufa and Sham? Oh Baba Ali, from Kufa to Sham, please come to help your Zainab. Oh Baba Ali, from Kufa to Sham, please come to help your Zainab. Abbas was my savior, Now who shall I call for? For the protector I had just come to a fall. He is sleeping by the Euphrates, while Sakina is still thirsty, and the children are left in sorrow. Oh Baba Ali, from Kufa to Sham, please come to help your Zainab. Oh Baba Ali, from Kufa to Sham, please come to help your Zainab. The tents had been burned while I took out Sajjad. Saving the Imamat was still my line of jobs. Abbas and Hussein now see the battle of Zainab while there are spears. Oh Baba Ali, from Kufa to Sham, please come to help your Zainab. Oh Baba Ali, from Kufa to Sham, please come to help your Zainab. We went from Karbala and made it to Kufa, as we were abused by the people of your own. The head of Hussein would repeat the Quran as we were tied in chains, all from head to and toe. Oh Baba Ali, from Kufa to Sham, please come to help your Zainab. Oh Baba Ali, from Kufa to Sham, please come to help your Zainab. Mukhtar could not bear the family of Ali being taken in chains, as people of Sham just stared. But do not look behind, is what Sajjad would say. The daughters of Ali do not have their veils. Oh Baba Ali, from Kufa to Sham, please come to help your Zainab. Oh Baba Ali, from Kufa to Sham, please come to help your Zainab. Zainab had 2 children, but she only sorrowed for her brother Hussein. But after she was old, the mother of her sons, she came back to Medina and weep for own Muhammad. Oh Baba Ali, from Kufa to Sham, please come to help your Zainab. Oh Baba Ali, from Kufa to Sham, please come to help your Zainab. Oh Baba Ali, do you know what we went through from the bazaars of Kufa and Sham? Oh Baba Ali, from Kufa to Sham, please come to help your Zainab. Oh Baba Ali, from Kufa to Sham. Please come to help your Zainab. Please come to help your Zainab. وصلى الله على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.
السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا حبيب الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب، السلام عليك أيها الصديقة الطاهرة فاطمة بنت محمد، السلام عليك يا حسن بن علي المجتبى، السلام عليك يا حسين بن علي الشهيد، السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليك يا علي بن الحسين أيها الزين العابدين، السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي الباقر، السلام عليك يا جعفر بن محمد الصادق، السلام عليك يا موسى بن جعفر الكاظم، السلام عليك يا علي بن موسى الرضا، السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي الجواد، السلام عليك يا علي بن محمد التقي، السلام عليك يا حسن بن علي العسكري، السلام عليك يا قائم آل محمد عجل الله فرجك. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Allah